Okay, sorry I didn't make this video yesterday. This is a video about fraction and decimal division, number 764 out of the CPM Course 1 book. It's about dividing fractions, specifically mixed numbers, and dividing with decimals. So if I were to do this problem, I could use a number line, I could do some other things. One of the easiest ways for me is to convert mixed numbers to single fractions and then divide and multiply. That seems easier to me. So I'm going to take 4 wholes and 1/3 and say every whole is made up of 3 parts. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 plus 1, so multiply and then add, and 12 plus 1 is 13/3. And I could say, well, now each whole is broken up into 6 parts, so 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so 7/6. Oop, and I'm not adding, I'm dividing. I personally don't like to use the save, change, flip method. I'll use common denominators. I always check to see if you can divide straight across first. So 13 divided by 7 is not going to be a nice integer, so I'm going to use the common denominator method. And I'm going to say, what's a common denominator between 3 and 6? And that is 6. So if I multiply this fraction by 2 halves, I will get 26/6 and divide that by 7/6. And now when I divide across, I get, well, 26 divided by 7 and 6 divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is just 1, and 26 divided by 7 is 26/7. And anything divided by 1 is just itself. So my answer is 26/7. I can convert that back to a mixed number. How many 7s are there in 26? There are 3. And with 5 left over, 5/7 left over. So 3 times 7 is 21. And then 5 more is 26. All right, let's go ahead and do the other fraction problem. And we've got, let's convert these again. So we've got 3 wholes. So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. 17/5 divided by 10 times 1 is 10, plus 3 is 13/10. Again, going to be kind of messy if we divide straight across. Let's get common denominators. 5 and 10, the common denominator is 10. And we've got times 2 again. And 34. 34/10 divided by 13/10. Divide straight across, and again, 10 divided by 10 is going to be 1. And 34 divided by 13 is just going to be 34/13. 34/13 is going to be our answer. How many 13s are there in 34? Well, 2 13s. 2 13s is 26. And 26 with 8 left over, 8/13. So dividing with decimals, we could write these as fractions, which is a kind of cool way to do it. So you've got 8 and 6/10 divided by 2 and 6/100 divided by 2 and 48/100. So we could do that. You already have common denominators, so that wouldn't be too bad. I'm going to choose to, well, actually, let's actually do that. Let's actually write it as a mixed number. So you've got 806/100 divided by 248/100. Now, since the denominators are the same, I can divide straight across. And what we end up with is just, what is 206 divided by 248, because 100 divided by 100 is just going to be 1. So that's actually what division problem we're going to end up doing. What is 806 divided by 248? That is going to get us our answer. I'm going to write it over here. What is 806 divided by 248? And we're going to come back to that right now, because the other way to divide it is just with long division. So let's take 8 and 6/10 and divide it by 8 and 6/100. I said that again, and 48/100. And the key with dividing with decimals is that you don't want the decimal in the divisor. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by 100, which is going to move the decimal place twice. So we're going to multiply it by 100, moving it twice. And if we do that, we need to do it here. Multiply it by 100 and move that twice. So what we end up with is a new division problem, which is exactly what we were going to do here. We end up instead with 806 divided by 248, which is what we were being asked to do before. So how many, this is about 250, so I know 250, and this is 800, so 2 of these is going to be 500, 3 of them is going to be about 700, so 3 of them, 3 are about 750, so 248 times 3, 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we have 744. Let's subtract. We get 2, and then that's 10, 6. So 62. And now we can leave that as a fraction. So we could say that our answer is 3 and 62 48ths. 3 and 62 248ths, and then we can simplify that. You'd have to divide by 2 and keep simplifying. Let's turn this. Let's leave it as a decimal. So let's put a decimal, bring down the 0, bring up the decimal. And now how many times does it go into 620? 620. Well, let's do 2, and that's going to be 4 less than 500. So it's going to be 4 less than 500, so 496. And how I got that is that this is 2 less than 250, and I know that 250 twice is 500, but it's 2 less than that, so 496. That's a 1, 10, and it'll be 4, 5, 1. And what do we got? We've got 9, 10, 11. So that's 2, 125, and then bring down 0, and continue this out. So how many 248s are in this? And 4 of them are about 1,000. So that's an extra 1. I bet it's going to be 5. Let's try 5. And 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Ooh, feeling good about this. So that's carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Nice. 0. So our answer is 3.25, which is what this is going to be. This is going to shrink all the way down to 3 1/4, or 3 25 hundredths. All right. Thanks for watching.